Welcome to the next video. In this video, we are going to talk about the buying process for a UK citizen to buy a property in Florida. So before we start talking about our experience in buying our property in Florida, just a quick disclaimer to say that we bought our property in 2023, so our experience might be different to you buying one now.
Hopefully it's not changed too much, but just might be slightly different, but worth bearing that in mind. For us, it started off, we went to an exhibition called A Place in the Sun. Some of you might know there's a TV programme on in the UK called A Place in the Sun. So where people go to their dream location where they'd like to purchase a holiday home. The people that run that programme hold two shows here in the UK, one down in London and one in Birmingham. So we went to the Birmingham one. A Place in the Sun, it's where all the realtors, so that's like their estate agents, they put exhibitions on and have stalls where you go and talk to them and sit down and have a proper chat. So on these stalls they have some listings that they've currently got, but it's just a really good chance to sit down and talk to the person that's going to be hopefully helping you buy a place in the place you want to go.
When we went to A Place in the Sun, we spoke to a realtor in Florida, and they also had their mortgage broker with them at their stall, and we spent 1 hour talking to both of them, getting all the answers to our many questions that we had on how we buy a holiday home in Orlando.
Yeah, because it's a really daunting thing to embark on, so it's nice to just sit down with someone and any question you've got they're willing to answer. As daft as you might think, they've heard it before. At this exhibition we met a realtor that we really liked, so we gave them our information. When we got back from the exhibition, our realtor started sending us emails of properties that we might be interested in. And it didn't take long, a condo popped up, which is our condo now, that we fell in love with. So she helped us start the process of getting a mortgage.
And after speaking to the mortgage broker and our realtor for an hour, we learnt of the certain rules that there are for an international buyer. And them rules are, you have to have a 30% cash deposit on the property that you want to buy. So for example, if the property you want to buy in Orlando is $200,000, you have to have $60,000 in cash deposit. The next rule you have to follow is that you have to have cash funds to pay for all your fees. So here in the UK, you can add on all your legal fees onto your mortgage and you don't have to pay cash for it. When you are an international buyer to buy a holiday home in Florida, you have to pay cash for this and you can't add it onto your mortgage. So the next rule for an international buyer is that the money has to come from a US bank account and it has to sit there for a number of weeks. So your 30% cash deposit and also the cash for all your legal fees has to be in your US bank account for a number of weeks at the time of completion. When we had our mortgage in principle to buy our property, the mortgage provider wanted a bank statement to prove that we had all of the cash deposit funds.
So when we got back from the exhibition, we applied for our mortgage in principle from the mortgage broker. So once the US mortgage had been approved in principle, asked our realtor to put in an offer for us. Once the offer had been accepted by the seller, we then started talking with what they call a title company. So the title company is like their version of a solicitor. The solicitor fees get paid in escrow. So escrow is where they total up all the fees that are going to occur during the purchasing of the property and you pay it all up front. And any money that's left over, so if they've overestimated the cost, will be refunded at the end once you complete. So our escrow deposit was £3,500.
So after we sent our escrow money, we then had to sign a contract. So this is a massive difference between here in the UK and over in Florida. Here in the UK, you sign your contract last, at the very, very last moment, which means that this buyer or the seller can pull out of the sale at any point. Over in Florida, after you've paid your escrow, you then sign your contract first. It is a binding contract, and we'll talk about the only get out of jail free card that you have to pull out of the sale.
So the next stage, once we both signed the contracts, was for an inspector to go to the property and carry out an inspection. Now the mortgage provider requested a certain level of inspection, which is a bit more thorough than the usual one, but we'd have liked that anyway, especially not being able to go and see the property ourselves in person. So the inspection also reports anything of concern, as well as gives you a value of the property.
So after you've had the inspection, this is now the only get out of jail free card you have to pull out of the sale. If the inspection comes up with something of concern and you don't want the property anymore, that is your only chance to pull out of the sale. If you are both happy, you then sign another contract, and this is the binding contract. After you sign this contract, if you decide you want to pull out of the sale, this is where it gets extremely expensive and you have to pay your own fees as well as the seller's fees. So if a party pulls out, that party has to pay both parties' fees. Our realtor told us that after you sign this contract, after the inspection, then it's pretty much a done deal, because she says that people don't pull out of the sale when this second contract's signed because of how expensive it is to do.
So when it came to signing the final contract, it had to be witnessed by 2 witnesses that weren't related to us, that also signed, say that they were there at the time of signing. And we had to have what's called a notary come to our house and rubber stamp to say it was us that were signing. Had we been able to get over there to the US and sign it in person, we wouldn't have needed that extra cost. But it cost us extra £3,500 that we didn't see coming.
Yeah, we didn't get told about it until right at the very end that we needed to do this, which we wasn't happy about at all.
So the notary had to be selected by our title company and not by us. They had to arrange for them to come to our house and sign it in person, just so that they knew it was a legit person that was notarising the document.
So after the notary came to our house, and she spent 15 minutes here whilst we signed a stack of paperwork. She then gave us a £3.5 bill. But in that £3.5 bill, she had to scan every single document and she had to email it over to the title company because they wanted to see that we had signed all the paperwork correctly. When the title company was happy with that, our notary had to send the whole stack of paperwork and mail it over to them. When they received the original documents with all our signatures, they then gave us the closing date, and they call it the transfer of funds day. So that is the day that we get the deeds and the seller got his money. So we hope you enjoyed this video. When me and Matt was buying a property last year, there wasn't much information online at all about how a UK citizen buys a property in Florida. There wasn't much on YouTube either, so we had to learn it by ourselves as we went along each stage. And we hope you found this video useful.
So if you've got any questions that we've not answered in this video, just drop them in the comments below and we'll get back to you.
So we're going to wrap up this video here. We want to say thank you so much for watching, and don't forget that you can rent our condo. All of the booking links are in the description right below, and we will see you in the next video. Bye! I don't know why I'm laughing. I thought we was going to go down the same rabbit hole when you started. Like what you've just said, I thought you were going to say the exact same thing.
And also,